Most men mess up when a woman pulls away. They chase, they beg, they try to fix things. Big mistake. Women do not respond to pressure, they respond to absence. When she starts acting distant, your first instinct might be to get closer. That's the trap. The more you push, the more she runs. But the moment you pull back, everything changes. A woman values what she fears losing. She respects a man who knows how to step away without fear. If she thinks you'll always be there no matter how she treats you, she will take you for granted. But when you disappear, when you show her that you are not a man who waits around, her mindset shifts. Suddenly, she starts missing you. She starts wondering about you. And most importantly, she starts chasing you. Distance is not weakness, it is power. It forces a woman to reflect. It makes her compare you to other men. It makes her realize that your presence was a privilege, not a guarantee. And when a woman feels that, she comes back, not because you begged, but because she chose to. In this video, I will break down the 7 key reasons why giving a woman distance makes her come back. If you've ever felt ignored, devalued, or uncertain about what to do when a woman loses interest, this will give you the masculine blueprint to regain control. When you understand how to properly walk away, you'll never chase again. And once you apply these tactics, you'll see something surprising. She will return, and this time it will be different. Let's get into it. Distance triggers. Her fear of losing you. Women don't appreciate what's always available. If she feels like she has unlimited access to you, she won't value your presence. This is why the moment you pull away, something shifts in her mind. She starts to feel a sense of loss, and that's what triggers her emotions. A woman's biggest fear in dating isn't rejection. It's losing access to a man she secretly values. She might act like she doesn't care. She might ignore your texts or seem cold. But the moment you stop reaching out, you activate something powerful: scarcity. People chase what's scarce and ignore what's abundant. Think about it. Women reject men who are too available, but they obsess over men who are hard to reach. That's why celebrities and high-status men never have to beg for attention. Their presence is rare, and women crave what's rare. This works on a psychological level. When a woman realizes that you are no longer giving her attention, she starts questioning herself. Did I make a mistake? Why isn't he chasing me? Does he not care anymore? And the moment she starts questioning, you've already won. Her emotions are now working against her. She might try to distract herself, but deep down, she feels something she wasn't expecting: regret. A practical example. Imagine 2 men. One texts a woman constantly, always available, always showing up. She grows bored. The second man was once engaged, but then suddenly stops replying. At first she doesn't care. A few days pass. A week. She starts checking his social media. She starts wondering what happened. Eventually, she reaches out, not because he chased, but because she felt the fear of loss. This is why distance is powerful. It forces a woman to reevaluate her feelings. The moment she feels she might have lost you forever, she will come back. She starts to feel your absence. Deeply, a woman can only miss you when you stop being present. Most men never allow this to happen because they keep inserting themselves into her life, checking in, sending just thinking about you texts, or trying to remind her they exist. This is why she never truly feels their absence. The key to making a woman return is to let her experience life without you. When you step back completely, no texts, no calls, no liking her pictures, no watching her stories, she starts to feel something unexpected: emptiness. At first, she might enjoy the space, she might feel relieved. But as time goes on, something happens. She starts to notice that her phone isn't buzzing like it used to. Her daily routine feels a little quieter. The comfort of knowing you're there begins to fade, and now she's left with a void. Women are emotional creatures. They get used to a man's presence, even if they act indifferent. When that presence disappears, they start to replay memories, romanticizing what they once had. She remembers the good times, the way you made her feel, and suddenly, those feelings of security and attention that she took for granted are no longer there. This process takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. The worst mistake you can make is breaking the silence too soon. If you give her a little space but then panic and reach out, you ruin the effect. She needs to feel that you are really gone. Let's put it into perspective. Imagine a man who texts his ex every few days. She never truly feels his absence because he never fully disappears. She knows he's still waiting, still hoping. She never has to wonder what he's doing because he keeps reminding her. Now, compare that to a man who vanishes. He was once attentive, caring, and present, but suddenly, nothing. No calls, no texts, no social media activity that relates to her. At first, she shrugs it off, but days turn into weeks, and she starts to feel his absence like a weight on her mind. The more time passes, the more she realizes that his presence was valuable. She starts to question whether she made the right decision. She checks her phone more often, hoping to see his name. She scrolls through old conversations. She might even find herself typing a message but hesitating to send it. This is why staying silent is more powerful than any words you could say. You are forcing her to process her emotions without interference. The moment she feels that your presence wasn't just an option, it was a privilege, she will start to crave it again. Most men try to force a woman to appreciate them. The smart man lets her come to that realization on her own. She wonders if you've moved on. Nothing makes a woman rethink her choices faster than the idea that you might be over her. When a man pulls away, a woman's first thought isn't always regret, it's curiosity. She starts to wonder, is he thinking about me? Does he still want me? Or is he moving on? This uncertainty eats at her mind. As long as you were present, she always knew where she stood with you. But when you suddenly stop reaching out, when your attention disappears, she starts to doubt herself. Women do not handle ambiguity well. They crave emotional certainty. When a woman doesn't know what's going on with you, her imagination takes over. And when her imagination runs wild, she starts to overthink. Is he seeing someone else? Did he lose interest? Was I wrong about him? This is where things start to shift. If a woman thinks a man is still emotionally attached, she feels comfortable ignoring him. But the moment she suspects he's slipping away, her emotions spike. That's when she starts checking up on you, asking mutual friends about you, or even accidentally liking one of your old posts just to get your attention. Women don't chase when they feel secure. They chase when they feel they're losing control. Now here's where men make mistakes. When they feel a woman pulling away, they try to prove they're still around. They post things designed to make her jealous. They send a text just to keep the connection alive. All of this kills the effect. The real power comes when you do the opposite. You move in silence. The silent strategy. Imagine two scenarios. A man gets ignored by a woman, so he starts posting pictures with other women, making sure she sees them. He tries to force a reaction. She sees right through it. It looks desperate. She knows he still cares. She feels in control. A man gets ignored, and instead of reacting, he simply disappears. He doesn't block her. He doesn't post cryptic messages. He doesn't try to show off. He just lives his life quietly. She starts to wonder. She scrolls through his social media but sees nothing. No signs of weakness, no signs of pain. Just silence. Which man do you think she will start obsessing over? The first one who made it obvious he was affected? Or the second one who left her in the dark? The answer is clear. Mystery is power. When a woman doesn't know what's going on with you, her emotions do the work for you. She starts checking her phone more often. She starts watching your stories, hoping for clues. She starts asking herself questions she never asked before. And the best part? The longer you stay quiet, the more powerful the effect becomes. She will come back not because you chased her, but because her own mind led her there. She realizes other women might want you. The moment a woman senses she isn't the center of your world anymore, something shifts inside her. It's no longer about just missing you. It's about competition. Women are wired to desire what other women find valuable. This is why a man who is constantly single and chasing women is ignored, while a man who is already admired by other women becomes irresistible. When you give a woman distance, you allow something powerful to happen. She starts to realize she's not the only option. She begins to wonder who else is noticing you. At first, she might try to convince herself that she doesn't care. But as time goes on, thoughts creep in. If I don't want him, does someone else? Was I too quick to walk away? Did I lose a man who is actually desirable? Women don't just chase men they want, they chase men other women want. Why this works? A woman's attraction isn't just based on her personal feelings, it's socially influenced. This means if she starts to feel like she misjudged your value, she will second-guess her decision. The irony? She couldn't see this while you were available. When you were always around, she took your presence for granted. But the moment you disappear, she starts noticing your worth, especially if other women start noticing it too. The power of indirect competition. A big mistake men make is trying to force jealousy. They go out of their way to make it obvious that they're seeing other women. They post pictures with women just to get a reaction. They think if they can make her jealous, she will come running back. Wrong. A woman doesn't get jealous when you try to make her jealous. She gets jealous when she realizes you're desirable without even trying. The best way to do this? Live your life without her in it. Don't fake it, don't force it, just become a man of value. When a woman sees a man enjoying life, improving himself, and attracting attention without chasing, it hits her in a way that no mind game ever could. Let's break it down. Imagine a man who gets ignored by a woman. Instead of reacting, he focuses on himself. He stays silent, works on his goals, levels up in his career, improves his physique, and starts living life without needing her validation. Suddenly, he's happier, he's confident, and other women notice. One day, the woman who left him sees him again. Maybe it's in person, maybe it's online, maybe she hears about him through mutual friends. But something is different. He's not the same guy she walked away from. She feels a pang of regret, a realization. She thought he would wait for her, but he moved forward. And now, she might be too late. That's when she starts to come back. Not because you begged her, but because she sees your value in a way she never did before. She misses the emotional high. You gave her women don't just miss men, they miss the way men make them feel. A man who knows how to create an emotional roller coaster, one filled with excitement, tension, and unpredictability, is a man a woman cannot forget. When you were always available, she got used to you. She knew you would text, she knew you would be there, and she didn't have to think about you. But the moment you give her distance, something changes. The predictability disappears, the comfort fades. And now, she starts to feel something. What does she feel? Confusion, doubt, intrigue, curiosity. A woman's mind needs stimulation. The reason many men lose women isn't that they weren't good enough. It's because they became too easy to figure out. No challenge, no mystery, no tension. But when you create space, when you stop giving her constant reassurance, her emotions reactivate. She goes from being calm and indifferent to suddenly wondering about you. Why distance creates emotional addiction. Think about how people get addicted to things. It's not from constant reward, it's from intermittent rewards. This is why social media, gambling, and even unhealthy relationships can be so addictive. When a woman isn't sure when or if she'll hear from you again, her mind starts craving that emotional hit. She checks her phone more often. She replays past conversations. She wonders if she made a mistake. The key here? You are no longer the supplier. She has to chase that feeling on her own. She might start reminiscing about the good times, the way you made her laugh, the way you teased her, the way you made her feel like a woman. Suddenly, her indifference turns into nostalgia. And nostalgia? It's a powerful force that can override logic. The mistake men make. At this stage, men often ruin the effect by giving in too early. They get a message from her and immediately they think, she misses me. I need to respond quickly so I don't lose my chance. This is how you lose your power. If you give in too soon, she gets her emotional fix and goes right back to being comfortable. The craving stops, the interest dies, and you're back to square one. Instead, you have to let her miss you longer than she expects to. Let the emotional craving build. Let her sit with it. Let her wonder why you're not rushing back. Because the moment you break, the moment you give her what she wants too easily, she remembers why she lost interest in the first place. How to handle it the right way. If she reaches out, do not rush to reply. Let her message sit for a while. When you do respond, be calm, collected, and brief. You want her to feel like she has to work to get back into your life. That's when she realizes she's the one chasing now. She starts to doubt her decision. At first, when a woman pulls away, she feels in control. She believes she made the right choice. She assumes you'll wait, chase, or try to win her back. But when you don't react the way she expected, doubt starts to creep in. This is one of the biggest psychological shifts that happen when you give a woman distance. She questions if she made a mistake. The power of doubt in a woman's mind. Women are emotional decision makers. Even if she convinced herself that leaving was the best choice, her feelings can override her logic. The more she realizes that you haven't begged, pleaded, or chased, the more she starts to wonder, what if I misjudged him? What if he was actually a better man than I thought? Why isn't he trying to get me back? Did I overestimate my value? At this stage, the situation flips. Instead of you being the one feeling uncertain, she's the one stuck in her own mind. And this is exactly where you want her to be. Why distance triggers doubt. When you were always available, she didn't have to think about losing you. She knew you were right there. That safety made her comfortable enough to walk away. But when you give her distance, you remove that safety. She no longer has control over you. She no longer has the certainty that you're still interested. Now she's forced to think about something she never considered before. What if he moves on before I do? That thought alone is powerful enough to make her rethink everything. How women deal with doubt. When doubt creeps in, women react in different ways. Some will try to act unbothered, but their behavior starts to change. She starts watching your stories on social media again. She likes an old post to subtly get your attention. She reaches out with a random excuse to see if you'll respond. She asks mutual friends about you. Other times, doubt will make her test you. She might try to provoke a reaction by saying something indirect like, I hope you're doing well. Translation, are you still thinking about me? I saw something that reminded me of you. Translation, do I still have an effect on you? I heard you've been doing good. Translation, are you happier without me? She won't make it obvious, but these little tests are her way of checking if you still want her. If you fail by responding too eagerly, she regains control and the doubt disappears. The key, let her doubt grow. If you want her to fully regret leaving, you have to let her sit in that doubt. Let it build. Let her stew in her own curiosity about what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're so unaffected. This is when she realizes she had something valuable, but she walked away. And that's when she starts to come back. She realizes you are the prize. The most powerful shift happens when a woman stops seeing herself as the prize and starts seeing you as the one she lost. This is the moment when she truly feels the impact of your absence. At first, she may have walked away feeling confident, thinking she could replace you easily. But over time, as she sees that you haven't chased her, haven't begged, and haven't broken your frame, reality starts to hit her. Why women need contrast to appreciate value. Women don't realize what they have until they experience something worse. If she left you thinking she could find better, she now has to test that theory in the real world. And that's when she starts to compare. The men she meets aren't as confident as you. The conversations feel forced, not effortless like they did with you. The new guys seem too eager, while you had self-control. The emotional connection isn't as deep as she had with you. This contrast is what makes her start to miss you in a real way. Not just because she's lonely, but because she now understands that not every man is built like you. She starts to regret underestimating you. A woman who loses a man who truly had options feels the weight of her mistake. Because the truth is, most men will chase, most men will beg, most men will stick around hoping for another chance. But you did none of that. And that's what makes her question everything. How could he just walk away like that? Why doesn't he seem affected? Was he actually better than I thought? Did I let a high-value man slip away? This is when her ego takes a hit, because now you're the one who got away. Why this shift makes women return. A woman doesn't return because she suddenly realized how great you are. She returns because she now believes that you were always in control and she was the one who miscalculated. You didn't fight for her. You didn't beg for her presence. You didn't break when she left. And now, you have the power. At this point, her behavior changes drastically. She becomes nervous when she reaches out. She tries harder to impress you. She starts talking about old memories, hoping to reconnect. She hints at regret, hoping you'll reassure her. All of this happens because for the first time, she realizes you were the one in control the entire time. What to do when she comes back? The biggest mistake men make here: they take her back too quickly. She needs to feel that rebuilding trust takes effort. She needs to see that you're not just waiting for her, but that you are choosing whether she's still worthy of your presence. When you hold your ground, when you keep your masculine frame, and when you let her prove herself to you, you don't just get her back, you get her respect. Conclusion: women return when they feel your absence in a way they never expected. When you give them distance, you create doubt, curiosity, and regret. You force them to realize that not every man is willing to chase, and that alone makes you stand out. But the key is this: when she comes back, you hold your ground. You don't rush to take her back, you let her prove herself. Because now she sees you differently. Not as a man she left, but as a man she wants back but isn't sure she can have. That's real power. Keep it.